Welcome to this special episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. This is going to be a part of an ongoing but definitely not sequential series where I give some music business tips that I believe are applicable to most guitar players, especially people that have been playing for a few years and they have reached the intermediate stage. So it's going to be called Music Business Tips, and let's get started with number one. Own the brand you're putting your work into. So there you have it. You should own your own brand. That means whether it's an actual band or it is a CD project or any kind of project, you should have it crystal clear on what happens with a specific brand. As far as I'm concerned, the most important thing is what happens if one of the persons of the band or of the project decides to leave. And this needs to be clear from day one. I know to most people this sounds like overkill, especially when you're starting a band or you're starting a new project. You never want to think about what will happen if things go wrong. But just trust me, I have several decades of experience and it's really not overkill. Just make this thing clear. Explain to any band members that if they decide to leave, it's okay, you're still going to be friends or not, you decide, but the project is going to go on. This has been a problem several times in the careers of my students, where they had a project or a band, one of the persons decide to walk, and then become this huge hassle on what's going to happen with the project. So don't do that. If it's something that you really believe in, if it's something that you're putting work in and you're interested in, then definitely make sure that everybody understands that even if they leave, the project is still going to continue. A few years ago, I had a really good student of mine, George, and he had a band and they were playing for several years and they were actually beginning to become fairly famous. They were definitely doing the right things, doing the right steps, recorded one CD, did pretty well, recorded the second CD, did pretty well. So as it is very normal to happen in these cases, one of the band members decided to quit the band. That's perfectly fine. It was his right and it's everybody else's right to continue. However, just as he was leaving, he started saying that now that he's gone, the band shouldn't continue and it should change and it should break up and everything. Unfortunately, my guitar student, against my advice, he decided to split the band and start a new project. The new project did well, but it took the new project at least 5 years to get to the same point of being slightly famous and being successful that the previous band was. So those 5 years were wasted because he was not clear from the beginning that this was his brand. So let's compare this now with one of my projects, Greek Guitar Power. Greek Guitar Power is a quasi-performing / teaching project that I have with several of my most advanced students. And I've been running this project since 2007, if I remember correctly. So it's been like 10 years now. Sometime around 2010, a couple of the band members decided that they couldn't continue with touring with us for their own reasons, and this is perfectly fine, so they decided to quit the band. They quit the band, I found 2 other people to come tour with us, and nothing changed. Nobody was the wiser, and there was absolutely no problem. There was no gap at any point of the process of building the specific band, the specific project, just because a couple of the members left. And the people that left were from the members that were there from the day one, but it still didn't make any kind of difference. Why was that the case? Because from day one, I made it very clear to everybody that this project was a project that I was leading, and if someone wanted to stop, to leave at any point, by all means they could, we would still be friends and everything, but the project is not going to stop no matter who decided to do what. So this is what you should do. Just make sure that if you feel very strongly about a specific project that you start, Make sure that yes, you're gonna treat everybody perfectly well, but make sure that they understand that it is your project and it's not gonna disappear and dissipate if they decide to go away. Now this, however, might mean that if you're doing some kind of promotional activities or if you're recording a CD or something like that, you might need to pay for those activities. And this is not so difficult to understand from the point of view of the other artists. It's very acceptable, and you should understand that if an artist is not an equal part of a project, he might not be willing to invest a lot of time and definitely not a lot of money into the specific project. So if he's just trying to see if he likes it or not, but you have decided to make a commitment on the specific project, you might be expected to pay for those things. So there you have it. Music business tip. Always own your brand. In this earth that we live in, the only thing that we have limited is time. And I don't mean it in a spiritual way, I mean it in an actual practical way. You can always make more money, but you can never remake for lost time. So, if you have been building a brand, and for some reason, because somebody leaves or for any other reason, you have to stop using this brand, you have to build a new one, and this is going to take a lot of time. Make sure you own your brand, and this is going to help you very, very much long term in your music career. So thanks for tuning in. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach.